If you take 10 ballot papers that only bears the name Raila and William Ruto as the two presidential candidates and go at the center of Nyeri town, and also go, let's use Nyeri and Kiambu, and you just give them randomly. They go and vote without coercion, not anywhere. There is no campaign. Just you go and sit somewhere and you take the person, then you return. At the end of this, how many people out of 10 would you think is going to vote for William Ruto and Raila Odinga in Nyeri and Kiambu? If you were to do this last year in September, or let's say even in August, out of the 10, Raila Odinga will only get 1 or 2. But let me tell you, if you do that now, I think he can get 4 out of the 10. What am I trying to say, guys? Although there have been different opinion polls that have come out, others have been showing that Raila is catching up. But I think the latest by Mizani that I captured it, but we did not analyze it, showed that Raila overall was actually taking charge of the presidential race. So that is what it showed first. But then William Ruto have been campaigning for long. Pauline Njoroge is a very close confidant of Jubilee Party and President Uhuru Kenyatta. And I think Uhuru Kenyatta have intel on popularity of every candidate. Forget about these opinion polls. The NIS gives William Ruto Uhuru Kenyatta briefs on every other day. It's actually a daily affair. So he knows that the person who is ahead is who. And Uhuru Kenyatta was telling Jubilee leaders when he met them in State House that this assertion that William Ruto is ahead is a lie. Raila Odinga is in charge of this race. Is it that NIS are lying to the president? It's a question. There is a post by Pauline Njoroge that is eliciting reaction and is stating this. What factors do you think have contributed to the fall of William Ruto's rating in Mount Kenya from 85% in January 2021 to 59% in January 2022? First, I want you to ask yourself, do you agree to the fact that William Ruto's popularity in central Kenya have been dropping? That is one. And do you also agree that in 2021, he was at 81%, he was at 85%. Let's not even talk of January 59, but I do agree that he was at 59%. That is the question. In January last year, the Building Bridges initiative was being used to puncture Raila Odinga's candidature. That is one thing that you have to take. So I want to agree that, of course, William Ruto might have really taken charge of the central Kenya by then. In this video, I want us to look at critically some of the few reasons why I think that William Ruto's popularity in central Kenya is dropping. And I was just going through the Facebook page, I was just going through the comment section. I can tell you for sure that really, if you go and check that post, you'll realize that there are a very big population from central Kenya that are divided on who is really ahead. But on my own analysis, I want to try to poke holes on William Ruto's politics and vis-a-vis Raila Odinga and Uhuru Kenyatta to see what exactly might have caused this shift. If you ask me, between January 2021 and January 2022, that year, there were two events that happened. One was reggae was stopped by the High Court. Reggae was stopped by the High Court, that was one. Two was Raila Odinga formed Azimio la Umoja after that and announced his presidential bid. So one of the reasons that why William Ruto's candidacy may depreciated is because he was campaigning against himself. for the last 4 years, the 3 years between 2017 and 2020, he was campaigning against himself, William against Ruto. But the entry of Raila Odinga provided a variety. I think he did not have someone else who was giving him competition. So Raila Odinga provided a variety because unlike when initially William Ruto was selling the issues of betrayal, the issues of how he's being intimidated, the victim card and all that, and also trying to push himself through the Hustler Nation. Remember it started with the Dynasty versus Hustlers? I think then it came there, then it was Dynasty, I think versus Hustlers, huh? If I'm not wrong. Then after that, it came now to the bottom up. Understand? And it started it started by the empowerment of giving people the wheelbarrows and all that. Now, I think the entry of Raila Odinga brought an end to that dynasty narrative. But Raila Odinga also provided an alternative to in whose hands are we safe. Immediately he came in, Atuli came over with the narrative of in whose hands are we safe. And I think it had a swing effect on the political tide on central Kenya. And Raila Odinga was perceived as someone now, because he's close to the President Uhuru Kenyatta, I think the elements that now feel that they were safe around the president. So that's how the entry of Raila also changed the tide. Two, one thing that I think might also have worked to the disadvantage of William Ruto is his chest thumping and actually creating a perception that he was the central Kenya kingpin. You know, for once, you will listen to these leaders, the Rigathi Gachagua and the like, saying that the central Kenya have been in power for all those years and they haven't seen a change. So it's not even a must they are in presidency. And this was really laid a trap very well by Moses Kuria coming out. Moses Kuria was the first person, central Kenyan person, who came and said that this time round, we are not going to go for the presidency, we only want the running mate. You understand? So the moment he got that, he got very comfortable because he had taken inwards there, and he actually felt like, you know what, I don't even need the president. But then that was the mistake, because when that happened, I think Uhuru was a bit irritated and found like, okay, this guy seems to be insubordinating me. I am the person who introduced him to the central Kenya population in 2013, but he seems to be now wants to take charge of central Kenya. So that set him on a warpath with the president, with Business Kenya community. I think the business community there, he became an enemy of those leaders because the leaders felt like he was going to the central Kenya through the back room and he was not going through the leadership. And you listen to, I think there is a tweet that I see here. Who brainwashed the Tangatanga that William Ruto was their running mate? Someone was asking here that William Ruto was their candidate. So that was the mistake. I think he would have used the leadership. He would have gone back and just tried to be around the president a bit. Go with the president. It would have really been worked. It has worked well for him. Because let me tell you guys, I don't think Raila Odinga had even made up his mind to vie after the BBI. But he might have been called and asked to vie, because if you listen to Jimmy Wanjigi says Raila was not supposed to vie. So I think after William Uhuru realized that, okay, Ruto was becoming a nuisance, now they brought Raila in the fold and said, let's do this, you go and vie. Because they knew that was the only person that could give Ruto a run for his money. So I think also another factor that led Ruto to go dry on central Kenya is because the politics of tokenism, it reached a point that it could not be sustained. People normally complain that Raila Odinga doesn't give money, but I think that is what keeps him afloat in the political space. Because if you peg your politics on money, then money sometimes gets depleted. When it's depleted, then your interaction with the people, if it was based on money, actually even your interaction with people goes down. So this is how it affected William Ruto. Because when he got to the central Kenya turf, he was very strategic to use the small churches. And for people who, I think people who normally think that he got popular because of the churches, I wanted to go to the Star. There is a commentary by, I think there is an article by Mark Odinga. He's actually debunking on the myth of William Ruto churches were people with him. So it worked, initially it worked for him because when he got there, he would go there and do harambes, give money in church, buy cars for the priests. I think buy cars was in Western, or maybe church bus, and run the projects within the church. But then the problem is these were very small churches. They were not the Anglican, they were not the Catholic. You know, if you would have gone through these big churches, the Anglican, the Catholic, that will be sustainable because that is already, they have a big fanatical following. But the small churches, they were very easy because you simply need to call the pastor and exchange hands to the pastor, and at the end of it, you get the chance and you do your politics. So when he went dry, that he could not sustain that to the end of December. If you keen, he stopped doing donations. He lowered down. He went down on the donations from the October. So that really worked against him. And let me just borrow a leaf from that article. That it was debunking the myth that William Ruto really had a big fanatical support from the church. And the writer was using the analogy of 2010 constitutional process, when William Ruto formed a coalition with the church to say no. And despite of even by that time getting a very big support from the church, he could not even get 30% of that opposition to oppose the constitution, because the constitution passed by I think over 67%, over almost nearly 70. He could not even get a big percentage to oppose the church. So these fellas that were around him were only around him for the benefits, but the church did not. So when he went dry, he broke ranks with the fellas from the pulpit, and that worked against him. So after that, you realize that when he will schedule meetings in central Kenya and they are cancelled last minute, So this is also one of the issues that affected him. Lastly, I think Ruto was not keen on keeping Moses Kuria and Mwangi Kiunjuri. These two fellows will still be in Ruto's camp. But he pronounced himself that he was not going to form coalition with these small parties. And this is a blunder that was planted in UDA by Rigathi Gachagua, Kimani Chungwa, and Alice Wahome. You remember during, I think, the by-election in Juja, in Kiambaa, they implored Moses Kuria not to field a candidate there. And if he was to field a candidate, they were to field a candidate in UDA. So when Moses Kuria's candidate, George Kiombiri, won the Juja parliamentary seat, William Ruto adopted him in UDA, and he's now a UDA. If you check, Moses Kuria is having a new candidate to face off George Kiombiri in Juja in 2022. So when he said that he was not going to work with these small parties, I think the Mwangi Kiunjuru and Moses Kuria realized that, okay, we were being suffocated and we're not getting a fair treatment. I think those are my reasons why I think his popularity is depreciating in central Kenya. And you can also get to our comment section and tell us. I was going through a lot of articles about this, and I can tell you there are a million reasons. People are saying different things. Now, lastly, help me answer this. Do you think successfully Raila will get 50% from central Kenya? Let's be honest. Let's get to the comment section, and also let's do our opinion poll in the comment section. If you're from central Kenya, tell us, is he going to get 50%? Because if he gets 50%, this race is done and dusted.